Hello bitchlings, welcome to another video of mine. I just noticed that because I'm doing kind of a paranormal thing that I wanted to take you guys on this journey, and I'm trying something new. So because I have my beautiful music box, I wanted to use it to kind of get us in the mood of this video. First of all, thank you so much for everybody who has been interested in this new video series I'm doing, the paranormal experiences, paranormal story times, because I am one of those people who just love paranormal things, and I have been lucky enough to have things happen to me. Lucky can be debated, but today's video is not for the faint of heart, because I will be sharing a story about how I've done a few exorcisms or cleansings because of spirits, and I will tell you about my first thing because I have a haunted object that I really love, and it's weird that I love it because the circumstances of me getting that ring I'm going to show you were very weird. First of all, it was so weird. This is the ring I'm talking about. It is a labradorite ring made out of sterling silver. It fits my hand perfectly. But the story of this ring and how I got it is very weird. There are so many stories that I've heard of people requiring haunted items and getting them to their lives, and they always start the same way, with this person finding this thing that they have a strange obsession about, or they feel like they have to have this thing, this object, and they have this intrigue about it, around it all the time. And when I got this ring, it's such a strange story. I've actually told it in my Pagan and Witches, where I do make regular posts, so please find me there. I'm Sinisilmä there. But anyway, the way I found this ring, and I didn't think that it would become this kind of a journey. But so let's back up. So in the winter, last winter time, I believe it was January, I got this feeling that I should get a labradorite ring. I mean, I've always loved labradorites, but for some reason I got this persistent idea that I should definitely get a labradorite ring. And I didn't know why exactly that was, and the idea kept popping in my head over and over and over again. And if you know my my area where I live, it's the type of place where you don't just find a labradorite ring in. Like, we don't have that kind of stores here. And the weird thing was that exactly a week later, 2 weeks later, when that idea of labradorite ring had popped into my head, I got this surprise travel trip to another city. And I wasn't even going to go to the store where I found this ring, but my sister, who was there to pick me up, she actually told me when I was waiting her at the train station that she was going to be late. There had been traffic and she couldn't get here fast enough. So she told me to maybe go and have fun at that centrum, because the city is a lot bigger than my own city, and she was telling me to maybe you should go basically like look at the stores and things. And I was like, okay. And I had very little money at that time, so I was like thinking that I want to go to an antique store, because we don't have those here, like second-hand antique store or something. And I just walk in this antique store first of all, and the first thing I look at, like the first thing that's in front of me when I walk in, I didn't even say anything to the clerk who was there, who was telling me like, hi, because I got this feeling, this kind of pull, And I walk into this vitrine, this kind of a big glass vitrine, and lo and behold, in there's this sterling labradorite ring, this beautiful ring. And I asked the clerk, I need to see that ring. And she's like, okay. And she opens it up, she gives me the ring, and I put it on. Like, I usually don't do that because I might not get them off, but for some reason with this ring I had this feeling that yes, it's going to be perfect. And it is perfect fit. I don't know if you can see, but it is pretty much a perfect fit for me. And I asked about the ring because I had this strange feeling like I am supposed to have this ring. I don't know how to explain it otherwise. But I was like, that must be a labradorite. I didn't even look at the stone before I had that feeling, and then I just understood that that's a fucking labradorite. So I asked the antique store seller, like, do you know the story of this ring? And then she looks at me weird because I ask things like that because, well, I know that everything has like past, especially in antique stores, and I'm very interested in that. And she was like, I don't know anything else about it, but it belonged to an old woman, like this kind of older like lady who had sold some of her old things, and the ring was part of that. And she said that it's a very old ring. In here there are weird markings that I really couldn't like decipher. There's like a moon, a little bit of a moon, like, how do you say, like crescent moon, and then there's a heart and it says sterling silver Finland, and then there are some markings in it, but I have no idea like really. So it is silver and it is labradorite, and I just told her, like, at that moment, like, I was like, okay, it belonged to an old lady. Like, I felt this connection to the ring, and I was to the seller, like, name the price. And she told me the price, which was way too much for me at that time, but I was thinking that I need to have this ring, that there's something there. Like, I don't know if I have like psychic abilities or something, but I felt like that ring had been calling me, basically. This sounds like Lord of the Rings. Well, anyway, I buy the ring, I do the thing that you should never do with new things, and I wear it then and there. Not cleansing it, not cleansing anything. I haven't cleansed the music box either because I'm stupid. Oh shit. So I wear it then and there like this, and my sister is calling me, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna pick you up, where are you? And I tell her where we are, and we drive to her place, and I'm so exhausted because I've gone a 6-hour train trip, no breaks in between, haven't slept very well, and it was Friday night, so they were like, we really want to go out, will you be with us? And I was like, no man, do you mind if I skip it, if I sit this one out? And my sister was like, no, of course, and like, eat my food and like just live in my house the way you would normally. And I stay there, I watch Netflix, it's starting to get late, and well, I'm getting goosebumps. I'm wearing the ring, and then I go to the, like, I don't remember how much the clock was, something like 12 o'clock or something, and I go into like the bathroom, and suddenly, when I come back out, there's a light on that I didn't put on. This kind of a small fairy light has turned itself on. And I'm looking at it and I'm wondering, like, did I turn that on? And my Netflix is running on the background, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. But then I'm like, okay, I must have put it on like by myself. And then I sit on the sofa and I'm looking at that lamp because I felt like I really didn't put it on. And it goes off by itself. Right there and then when I'm looking at it. Ooh, creeps. Okay, then I'm like, dude. And I'm like, just ignore it. Probably like, it's a fairy light. Fairy lights do have like things like they don't like. Contrary to popular belief, I always think about the first, like the normal explanation before jumping into, oh my god, it's like a ghost. So what I do next is I just kind of hang out and like watch Netflix, nothing weird, and suddenly, and this creeps me the out, suddenly I hear a knock in my sister's bedroom, and there's no one there, but it was a knock in the door frame, and it's 3 times. Knock, knock, knock. And it's a normal knock, like a really knock. And I freeze, I put the Netflix on pause, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. That must be like the pipes. And keep in mind, I'm not watching it like with loud noises. It couldn't have been like the neighbors or anything, because I was like really just, I didn't have any volume in my Netflix, so it wasn't that, like I wasn't making any noise, so it wasn't like the neighbors, and it came from my sister's room. From the room, like somebody was standing in the doorway and knocking. And I'm like, okay, that's probably nothing. Still, I'm stupid. I'm like this, like I'm just always like, it's probably my imagination. So then when I like, I'm kind of half like, this is stupid, and then I'm like, is somebody there? Like I'm just like this. I just talk like, I don't know, and I get the 3 knocks as response. And I'm like, okay, there's a ghost, and then the lamp goes on once again, the small fairy lamp, and I start feeling this, like I can feel this energy going around the room, like I can, almost like somebody's walking around me, and I'm sitting in the sofa that's in the middle. Oh my god, I'm scared. So I'm standing in the middle, and I was like, okay, that's a bit much, so I need to do something. So what's the first thing to do? I think about immediately, like, this is weird, because every time I've heard about people buying haunted things, they always have this thing that they have this draw to it, even though everything in your life should say no, don't buy it, basically. But you get this weird draw, you get these dreams, you get these obsessions about things, and I put 1 and 1 together, and I'm like, are you the ring spirit? And I hear 3 knocks again. And I'm like, okay, cool. No weird things. And because I don't, with spirits, I always have this thing that when they come to my house, I don't immediately just take them away or anything. Like, because I don't banish them immediately, because I just think that that's rude. Because if somebody wants to hang out here and they're completely harmless, why wouldn't I let them hang out here? So at that time, like, I don't still kind of like banish the spirit. I take the ring in my left hand and I start meditating, because that's usually what I do to gain insight. And I have some clairvoyant abilities, so sometimes I get these kind of messages. So instantly when I start meditating with the ring in my hand and focusing on it, I get this like vision of this older woman in a river bank washing clothes, like old clothes. It looked like Finland during wartime or something. Like, that's how the clothes look like, so at least 100 years old. And I see 2 little boys with blonde hair playing, about like 6-7 years maybe tops, playing in the river bank, and the woman smiling to them, and it was a very warm, welcoming kind of picture. And then I see the woman in my meditation just turn around and look at me. It felt like I had stepped back in time, and I saw this woman, and I just remember like this green dress she was wearing with like gray like kind of, I don't know what you call that, like apron and gray, like what's that, like a scarf in her head. So that's what I saw. And the woman had long grayish hair, half grayish, half blonde. So I think that she was the grandmother or the mother of the boys in the vision. So at that time, like, I understand that I probably have a ghost inhibiting this ring, or that's what I think at least. And the knocks stop. Like, I don't get the knocks anymore, but I'm freaked out. And because I know that people should cleanse new things, I mean, I kind of regret doing this, but I cleansed the ring then and there because I felt like the haunting was kind of very aggressive, it was very responsive, and it didn't like feel bad, but everybody was telling me in the online community where I talked about this thing and where I had been like updating people on this story, they told me to just cleanse the ring, and I actually feel like I did a wrong thing. I kind of feel like I shouldn't have cleansed it, just because I never felt like threatened, and that's not how I deal with ghosts anyway. Most of the times I'm very welcoming if the spirits don't mind, and I also feel like there was a reason I got this ring, like there was a reason, so me banishing the spirit kind of felt bad. So what ended up happening was me, with my heart pounding, being alone in my sister's place, I start rummaging her cabinets and finding things that I can do a cleansing with. So I find basil, I find salt, I find water, I had bought some dragon's blood incense, so I used that. And then I cleansed the whole house, and I cleansed the ring. And because I felt like it was time for me to kind of banish the old owner's energies basically and get it to me, I did a binding spell to this ring. I put it in a, because it was a winter time, there was no way for me to be able to bury it in the ground, so I buried it in a flower pot. That's something you can do if you want to earthbind something. And I did that, and it's a very kind of like this purificational spell that you can do, and like banishing type of thing. So that's what I did with the ring, and the activity stopped. Like, I went to sleep after that. Like, of course it took me a little bit of time after that, because it was a very like responsive haunting, and I'm not used to responsive hauntings. It's usually something that I can't kind of communicate with, and this was different. And I feel so bad that I did it, and like, if the spirit is somewhere present, like, I'm very sorry. I should have not been so afraid. It was just my first responsive communication with the spirit, so I kind of panicked. And like, yeah, I feel like I shouldn't have done that, because there must have been a reason for me getting this ring. So yeah, because it was like, the idea of like labradorite ring was there present like 2 weeks before, and then I had this pull to it, and then when I got it, it starts to try to contact me. So I guess I should have like helped that spirit, don't you think? Like, that's probably why it was trying to reach out to me, like, at least that's what I think. So what do you think was the reason for the ring spirit appearing? So this is the ring, and I don't know if you can see the markings. It's kind of like hard to, it doesn't focus on the markings, which is kind of sad, because it would be really cool to get you guys' opinions about the ring. And really not much is known about this ring, and I feel kind of bad that I didn't kind of ask more, or ask the information of the woman who owned it. I would have loved to know like what's the story behind the ring. It was surprisingly pricey, so I feel like it must have been very important to the family at that time, and it's my most treasured piece of jewelry I own, and I think that this is my witch jewelry. Like, this is something that I'm gonna pass down to my kids probably at some point. Like, this is my most prized piece of jewelry, and I've never felt a connection like this to anything, so I really do feel bad for not helping that woman. But yeah, leave your comments down below about this thing. I mean, I would love to hear your theories about this, because it has been like bugging me, like, what was that? A kid screamed outside. That's sufficiently creepy enough to end this video, probably. Like, blood-curdling scream came from outside right now. Like, how can you do that to me? Oh my god. Doing these paranormal videos is wrecking my health. My mental health is just, it's gone, no more. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that, and I see you guys in my next paranormal video. Please leave your theories in the comment box down below, and sorry for the long videos, but yeah, bye bitchlings!